So beneath every behavior, there is a feeling, and beneath each feeling is a need.
Hmm.
So when we meet that need, rather than focus on the behavior, we begin to deal with the cause, not the symptom. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes,
Yeah, right?
exactly. Because we're always focusing on the behavior. But like you just said, there's a need underneath the behavior. And since we stay so focused on the behavior and changing the behavior, we never get underneath it
Yeah,
to the true underlying cause. Yes.
exactly. Good morning, guys. We are your hosts, Lori.
And Shenisse, certified spiritual life coaches, and we are so glad you're here. Welcome to Coaching Sessions, a series here on Branching In where we coach you through various life challenges.
Yes, and we'd also love if you'd like to take a moment to like and subscribe. It means so much to us to have your support as we continue to spread more self awareness. So, Shanice, in today's episode, why am I still attracted to what hurts me? We are going to explore the reasons behind these painful patterns and help you understand why they show up in your life. And guys, just so you know, you don't have to fix anything right now. Just be here and let our words just meet you where you are. So, to understand why we stay in situations that cause us pain, we need to revisit our childhood. So, let's begin by understanding our inner child.
Yes. So, your inner child is the collection of your early experiences, emotions, and needs that still live within you. It's the playful, curious, tender side of you, but also the part that holds old wounds, fears, and unmet needs. So, have you ever noticed how certain things like a song, a smell, or someone's tone can suddenly make you feel small again, almost like you're a kid? That's your inner child showing up. It's the part of you that remembers, feels, and reacts just like you did when you were little.
Yeah, Shanice, I just made me think my kids brings out that inner child in me. Like that is like, oh my gosh. It's like, oh yeah, I love doing this. It's like that little child in me is being around my children.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a great example of how our inner child can show up. I've been going through like a rough time in my life right now where I'm just letting go. I'm in this like very letting go season. And as that's happening, I noticed, for example, yesterday, my toddler self showed up and she wanted to throw a tantrum. And I did. Through the biggest, I have not thrown a tantrum like that. I think since I was a little kid, and I just let her do it. There was, I had so much anger, and so I punched my bed, and I'm like hitting my pillow, and just like really going for it. And it can feel weird because like I'm an adult, right? Like I'm in this 36-year-old body, but completely acting like a 2-year-old little kid. But that's so normal. Like that's a part of it is we're not just who we are right now. I am not just my 36-year-old self. I am every age that I have ever existed in. And every age that I haven't existed in yet because it's all here in the present moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shanice, you don't have to believe in an inner child like it's a mystical idea. I think that word inner child, I think that's what it is when, some people are like, "Oh, what are they talking about? Inner child." I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's what happens, but it's just the child that was in you with inside of you. You were a child at one point,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, they don't just disappear. They're still a part of you, a very real part of you. Just because you can't see it doesn't
Right.
mean it's not there.
Yeah, and we're so what we can't see, we're in such a physical reality, physical world, right? So it
Yeah.
always feels kind of silly when we talk childlike or, like you said, child tantrum or whatever, because what? I don't see this child, but I'm feeling like a child right now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that child's feelings, hopes, and fears, they grew up inside of us. And sometimes that part of us still wants attention, love, and safety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and when you experience deep emotions, especially those that are tied to rejection or abandonment or unworthiness, it's often our inner child responding, because they seek the love and validation they did not fully receive.
Yes. That's it exactly. It's, inner child work really is just going back to that part of us, whatever age they are. And like we're saying, giving them that love, that validation, whatever it is that they needed in the moment they didn't receive. It's not a lost cause. It's not like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. I didn't receive that. No, we have the power to give that part of us anything that they need. We can do that. We can give ourselves, fulfill those emotional needs ourselves, which is amazing. I love that I know this because I've
Yeah.
had to do so much inner child work with all of the there were so many things that I did not receive as a kid that I've had fulfilled for my inner child, and it's made it so I am now my own parent. I'm my own mother and father. And it's such a beautiful symbiotic relationship that I have with all of my inner children. And it's such a pleasure to give them those things that they didn't receive. Honestly, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And Shanice, by reconnecting and you nurturing that inner child, you're you're healing those old wounds and you create a foundation of self-love and inner security.
Yes.
So, and what is that exactly called? We do when we do that? Self-parenting.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That is self parenting. So let's get into that, Lori, because this is a subject so near and dear to my heart. What is self parenting? So, self parenting is fulfilling the emotional needs that were not met during our childhood. In simpler terms, self parenting means stepping into the role of the parent you always needed.
Yeah, and there really is a deep need for self-parenting because when we were children, Shanice, we were unable to fully face many of the painful experiences we went through. So we didn't have the tools back then to really digest painful circumstances and act accordingly, like how we would want to act because we were children. How would we know what to do and how to do it and when to do it? So most of us coped by pretending those experiences never happened. Now we just, hid from that, put it under the rug, minimized it, whatever we did. But for the most part, just kept going, moving on, right? It was the only thing we could do to feel safe in an unsafe environment.
Yes, exactly. We've said this so many times, Lori, in other episodes, but the way we grew up, that wasn't our fault. Our egos did whatever it needed to do to protect us and to make us feel safe in unsafe environments. And so self parenting is just, it's such an amazing and such an empowering technique to really go back. And I've been self parenting for years. And I'm going to share, I'm going to be vulnerable for a minute. I'm going to share one experience that still to this day shocks me. I remember I was, maybe like 11 or 12. And I'm in the bathroom and I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm crying. And I remember just being like, I wish someone would come save me. I wish someone would come and take me out of here. And I remember just wishing so hard on that. Fast forward years later, I'm learning about self parenting. I start self parenting my inner child. And I actually ended up going back to that moment, my 11, 12-year-old self in that bathroom. I still see it so clearly, sitting on the toilet, wishing to be saved and going back there and saving her and speaking with her and giving her what she needed in that moment. And then it hit me. And I was just like, oh my God, I fulfilled it. My wish came true. But when in that moment, my 11-year-old self thought it was going to be someone else. Someone else was going to come and save me. And it ended up being me. I went and I saved myself. And it was just like this holy shit moment. I'm like, oh my goodness. I went back and I gave that part of me what she needed. And I have the power to save myself. I am my own knight in shining armor. Like, wow. It was so powerful. It's like, oh, I have chills just thinking about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry.
If you start crying, I will start crying, Lori. Don't you dare.
So beautiful, Shanice. Thank you so much for sharing that very vulnerable place because, yeah, just knowing that you have that ability to do that and then you can go just again because now you emotionalize that and you went in and did that. So now you know that other areas, your 5-year-old self, your 3-year-old self, or whatever 13-year-old self, you can go back and revisit all of those places because you know how to do that. You can embrace that now.
Yeah.
And it's not something somewhere else outside of you. And you don't have to wait for someone else to come in to do that. It comes from you and you like just shown yourself that. And now that child can trust you to do that over and over again.
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing that up. That's exactly what it is my inner child didn't trust me, and I don't blame her. I spent my entire life abandoning her so that I could please other people, so I could be there for other people. I mean, completely unconsciously, I didn't realize that by choosing others over myself, I was abandoning myself and breaking, that trust with myself. So when I first started self-parenting, I immediately felt that there was like no trust. And in the years I have been self-parenting, I have repaired that trust with my inner child in all of the ages. And it really is such a beautiful experience building that trust and having that trust with myself. It has made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. And it just feeling that we can all do that, that we all have that.
Yes,
And
we all have power.
yeah, we do. And not to tune that part of us out, to go to it so that that child can trust you.
Yes.
Because you're not just saying it, you're actually doing it. So there's
Yeah.
a difference, and there's that where that trust comes through. It's when the actions and words line up. Now we
Yes.
trust.
Exactly.
So it makes me go back, makes me think of Shanice. So beneath every behavior, there is a feeling, and beneath each feeling is a need.
Mhm.
So when we meet that need, rather than focus on the behavior, we begin to deal with the cause, not the symptom. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes,
Yeah, right?
exactly. Because 'Cause we're always focusing on the
Right.
behavior. But like you just said, there's a need underneath the behavior. And since we stay so focused on the behavior and changing the behavior, we never get underneath it
Yeah.
to the true underlying cause. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. So what is the cause? What needs were not met in our childhood?
Yes, let's get into it, Lori. So, we've broken this up into different kinds of needs. So, let's start with emotional needs.
Well,
So, a lot of our emotional needs were not met when we were children. And I'm sure so many people can resonate with that. So, for example, to feel loved and cherished simply for existing, not for performance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. To feel seen and heard, that your feelings and voice matter. And I know we've talked about this in other episodes, how, being validated and having our feelings feel like they exist and they matter when we're trying to express them is so important. If you have not had that happen, that's a really important emotional need to be met, to be felt, to be seen, to be heard.
Yes. Yes. And, you know, I literally grew up with that saying children are meant to be seen and not heard.
Oh, yeah, I did too. Yes.
Yeah, and I think most of us
And
kind
my
of
parents grew up with that, like, that was a definitely I know they've talked about, well, that's how, their parents were, and they're
yeah,
I know that
generational
was
thing.
yes.
Yeah. And that's I mean, now we know that is not true, and that's
Exactly.
actually detrimental.
Yes.
Yeah. Another one is to feel validated, that your emotions are real and make sense. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that's a huge one. Growing up, it's like, "Oh, well, that doesn't make sense." So,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
nope,
You're talking me
not feeling that way. Doesn't make sense.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and another emotional need, Shanice, is just to feel soothed and comforted when you are in distress, rather than being like ignored or shamed. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you feel that way?
Uh-huh.
Having that being comforted during those times that you are in a stressful spot or not feeling well.
Yeah.
Huge emotional need, in our childhood that's so important.
Yes, yes, very true. And so now let's move on to some safety and security needs that were not met in our childhood. So, the biggest one is to feel safe physically, free from harm or neglect.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that's a major one, but that I know that not everyone had that. Not everyone had that safe home.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And then to feel safe emotionally, free to express without fear of punishment or ridicule,
yeah.
like to be able to say what you needed to say without, you know, shrinking and being scared to say it because of, the consequences that might happen.
Yeah, the punishment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a very real fear for me growing up.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I did never felt safe to express my emotions because a lot of the times it came with that kind of like punishment, so it just wasn't worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and then just to trust that your caregivers are, consistent and reliable and not unpredictable and absent or emotionally unavailable themselves.
Yeah.
That is a very important security need that all children, need.
Yeah. And that's not, I don't know about you, Lori, but I know that's not something that I had growing up. My environment was very, very chaotic and it was very unpredictable.
Mine was unpredictable. Yeah, I know my father was in and out of jobs a lot. We never knew it was coming or going. So it was unpredictable. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I had to work with my inner child was providing that sense of safety and predictability because there was such a lack there because she never received that growing up. So I had the honor of providing that for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then some more needs would be developmental needs. And one is to experience healthy boundaries, not enmeshment or intrusion or neglect. And we both talked about this many times on this podcast about boundaries. We never even heard that word. Bound-
No, I literally did not grow up with
bound-
the word boundaries being used
no,
on the house now.
no.
Another one is to have guidance and structure without harshness or control,
Hmm.
which that was they went in tandem. For me, that was hand in hand. It was harshness and control. Both were the structure.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then to feel encouraged to explore and express, things that you wanna express, with curiosity, like, "I'm not sure, what do you think about this?" And use your creative side.
Yeah.
Really important. It's a really important thing to be able to do as a
Yeah.
child.
Yes. And then to be supported in developing autonomy and independence without guilt or shame. And that one was difficult because I grew up in a like strict religious household. There was so much guilt or shame and anything that veered from that like course. So that's another thing that I worked on with my inner child is creating a safe space for her to be curious because curiosity wasn't safe. Like it wasn't that it was just not like I wasn't told to be curious. It was literally it was unsafe to be curious. So again, that was something else I worked with my inner child, letting her know, nope, it's safe. You can be as curious as you want, explore as much as you want, and you're good. No.
Yeah, and I think what can be confusing too on, just made me think on exploring some of these needs, emotionally and, developmentally and all that is so much too, it's not what was done to you, it was what wasn't done.
Yeah.
So I know when I did a lot of my personal coaching sessions that it was more, I didn't have, wasn't in physical harm. I wasn't abused, like that. So I didn't see a problem. In my mind, I had a perfect childhood.
Yeah. I
And
same.
So then when I was in my coaching sessions and looking at things a little deeper and realizing it was more for me about what wasn't done than what was. So it was a little harder to self parent
Yeah, like
because,
point.
yes, exactly, because it was very enmeshed and it was just harder for me to find and I didn't see any problems. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that
those rose-colored glasses.
they were really rose colored. It was like
Yeah.
permanent rose. Yeah,
Same, Lori. Eh.
so it took a little bit of work, but it's all good. So this leads us right into the next thing of like, how do you know, Shanice? How do you know when to self-parent?
Ooh, yes. I
And
love
this
this.
is why what I was just saying, how it was a little trickier for me to know when exactly I should self-parent.
Yeah. So I have a great analogy that I learned from when we were in school, Lori, together.
Mhm.
And it's so great. And I still use it to this day whenever I'm talking about this to anyone. So let's say you're dancing. You're dancing with your partner, with anyone, and they step on your toe. So if you have a healthy toe, it's going to hurt, right? It's going to throb for a little bit, and then you'll be fine. Few minutes later, a few hours later, depending on how hard they stepped, you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. And then you'll be back to dancing to regular life. But if your toe is infected and they step on your toe, that shit is going to hurt. And it's going to hurt for days and maybe even weeks. And so that's kind of a really great analogy. So when someone triggers you, like, you're out and about, a conversation, whatever it is, someone triggers you and you are in that like triggered feeling for several hours, days, weeks, that's a sign. That's a signal that there's more going on within you, that there is a wound that needs healing. And
Mhm.
that's when you go to validate and self parent and really get to the root of what is the wound, why is the wound, where is the wound, so that you can start to heal it. That's the analogy that I use. And I'll know, "Oh, I need to self parent this feeling, whatever it is, the trigger has been here for days now. Time for a self parenting session."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when we learned that in school, Shanice, I absolutely love that analogy because that was helpful for me because my was so hidden inside of me and I protected all of that and my parents and was very enmeshed so that when I am triggered and the intensity doesn't lessen and it's like going on and like that infected toe, that's such a great analogy because it helped me so much go, okay, yeah, I need to look at this because I am still very bothered. And it didn't just roll off the shoulder like it was really right there. And yeah, so it's a really great trick for all of us to do is when we are triggered and it doesn't really dissipate to go, okay, this is let's look take a look at this deeper. And when we say look at it deeper, that's what we're talking about is to self-parent.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some examples of that, Shanice, of self-parenting.
Yeah. So it's very nuanced. There's no one way. And some examples of some things that I say to my inner child, some child affirmations. I'll say like, I see you, I hear you, I love you exactly as you are. You are safe with me. Just things that I know that she needs to hear that help her to trust me, help our relationship get closer. And it's is nuanced based on the situation, depending on how old that inner child part of me is. My language might change. I might use baby talk if it's much younger, but it's just basically saying things that your inner child needs to hear in that moment that she didn't hear when she needed.
And then and like you said, it's different for everybody, but for me, what helps too is putting myself in a safe space. Like I visualize, Shanice, like I do well outdoors. So I visualize I'm with that inner child, that whatever, that 5-year old, that 3-year old, whatever age I'm working with, in this really woodsy comforting setting. Like, it's just the 2 of us, and we're, like, in the woods together, and, like, I can see like, I can literally smell the air of the leaves, and I feel all of it. So
Hmm.
I first get myself in a v that this is just what I do.
Yeah.
I just put myself in a very comfortable place that feels safe,
Hmm.
and for her to feel safe, and I feel like I'm not in a hurry. I have all the time. You know, I this is definitely something I do when I have time, and I make a really great space for that. And I actually might even physically be in that. I mean, I might not be in this deep woods, but I'm outside doing it. So it kind of also puts me there too.
Yeah.
I really have experimented with that and have done it, in my home or outside or in the car. But for me, where I feel I have the most connection and the most conversation with my child self is being outside just because we love nature. We love being outside.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Same.
go where she likes to be and where we both like to be.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely do that. It depends for me. Sometimes I'm outdoors in a safe space. Sometimes I go right into the memory, depending. It really does
Nice.
depend. I'll go into the memory, whatever room she's in when it's happening, and I'm there with her. And I'm kind of taking her out of the moment. And both help. I use both methods. And it really just depends. I kind of the way I do it is I'm led there. It's not so much a decision I'm making as that's just I'm led there. So sometimes it's
Yeah.
outside, sometimes it's in the memory, and I kind of just go with the flow. But there's no wrong way to do
No,
it. You do it
no.
how whatever feels
No,
good to
these are
you.
just some of the ways that we've done, and like you
Mhm.
said, there's just no wrong or right way. Just do what works and what feels comfortable for you.
So, Lori, you and I have developed our own self parenting approach, what we really like and what feels good to us when we're self parenting our inner child. So, for those of you who would like to learn our approach, Check out our 10-week boot camp. Yeah, and you'll be able to we have, like, the validation, all the child affirmations, the like, what exactly to say and how to go through the process of self-parenting. It's really great. So I highly recommend.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into that
Yeah.
and really did a lot of work with that. So I'm excited for our listeners to check that out.
Yes, please do. So, Lori, to gain clarity on both the pain you're attracting and the roots of it, we would like our listeners to take a moment to sit with the following statements. We created some reflective statements to sit with. We're going to say them out loud. So, notice what comes up for you while we're saying them. And we've also included them in the description for your convenience so you can easily refer back to them at any time.
Yeah, exactly.
You like to
Okay.
start us off,
Yeah,
Lori?
I will start us off. So, when I avoid expecting intimacy in my relationships, I'm unconsciously giving permission for emotional distance. And because rejection feels scary, I meet that distance with my own withdrawal, creating a cycle where neither of us gets the closeness we truly want, which keeps me in a loop where I'm unconsciously attracting what hurts me.
My goodness. I think these are my favorite
Hmm.
part of this whole episode because these statements truly are amazing for creating awareness.
To what we're attracting, why we're attracting what's hurting us.
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, so here's another one. When I don't defend my boundaries with maturity and clarity, I abandon myself and it invites others to treat me the way I was treated as a child when I had no voice to say no, which keeps me in a loop where I am unconsciously attracting what hurts me.
Yes, yes, I did. If I don't give myself permission to be who I truly am, then I hand that power over to others. They'll mold me into their image. And each time I comply, I drift farther from the truth of who I really am, which keeps me in a loop where I am unconsciously attracting what hurts me.
So powerful, Lori.
Mhm.
These are so,
Because
so
we're making them conscious.
yes. Yes, I mean, my goodness. Oof. Okay.
No.
If I don't embrace myself with unconditional love, I dim my own light, and others will mirror back that dimness instead of the love I long for, which keeps me in a loop where I am unconsciously attracting what hurts me. These are so great, Lori. I really hope everyone takes the time to go to the description and read these. And I really hope you do because reading something with the sound of your own voice in your head makes it that much more like personal. And so you really integrate what what you're reading. So please do because these are so great.
Yeah, and Shanice, you know that you have successfully self parented your inner child when you do feel safe and secure in the world. And when you do, someone steps on your toe, it won't be throbbing for days and weeks and months, right?
Yes, because you've healed it. That's a great way to know. Because I know self-parenting, it's like the gym. When you go to the gym, whatever it is you're going to the gym for, you're not going to achieve it after one session. Oh, and so many of us are so used to instant gratification that we're like, oh, well, this isn't working. I'm done now. I'm giving up. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, no, it's not going to work after one session. It's not going to work after 5 sessions. It might not work after 10 sessions. I've done hundreds of sessions and
Yeah.
I will probably be doing sessions for the rest of my life. There's
Yeah.
always more to do. There's always deeper to go. Sometimes I've done work with my 7-year-old self. I don't even know how many times I've self parented specifically just my 7-year-old self,
Yeah.
just because of that year that I had was a big one for me. And every time I think, okay, I think I'm done now, but then I'm not. And then as my 7-year-old pops back up again, I'm like, okay, well, then let's go for another round. But don't be discouraged by that. It's going to take time. It's going to take work, but you know it's working when you start to feel more safe, more secure within yourself and your environment and in the world in general.
Yeah, and that feeling in itself will have you going back and doing more because you'll see the benefits. You'll see how you're not walking around with this throbbing toe.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's really brings you back to doing it over and over again because you see the results.
Yes.
And it's also very comforting. There's just empowering comforting, and knowing that you have all that power. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing that when I just learned about how to self-parent and what is self-parenting, it gave me all that power. I can do this. I'm not waiting on somebody or something else. I can do this right now, today.
Yes. I will say self-parenting has been the thing that for me has really rewired my mind, has calmed my nervous system, has helped me trust myself again, has helped me embody my authentic self. Like self-parenting has been one of the most key things in all of my practices that I do. It's been the most transformational,
Yeah,
hands down.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, Shanice. So to wrap up this episode, we learned about our inner child, the value of self parenting, and explored the needs that were not met in our childhood. So you guys can empower yourself with the knowledge you need to attract what fulfills you in life.
Yes. And if you'd like to learn more about what we offer, our 10-week bootcamp, Awaken into Authenticity, is designed to help you cultivate a relationship with your inner child and learn how to self parent yourself, which will allow you to move through the world with confidence and ease. And that's it for this episode. If this episode spoke to you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it. Thank you guys for listening to Branching In with Shanice.
And Lori, join us for our next episode. We post on Friday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you guys. See you then. Bye.